Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to the West Texas View. I'm Johnny Lou Avery, and my guest today is from the Commemorative Air Force. He's the president and CEO, Stephen Brown, and you'll see information rolling across the screen. If you need to contact him, feel free to do it, or of course you can always contact me. But before the break, we were talking about the history. It got started at Mercedes, then it moved to Harlingen, and then through a series of reasons and events, it was moved to Midland, Odessa. And at that point, it was called the Confederate Air Force. And now continue the story.
Well, as you mentioned, we were called the Confederate Air Force for many years, and that's how we were known. In around 2000, 2001, the membership decided that the name was a good name, but it was becoming confusing as to what we were about, and it became a little bit of a hindrance in trying to accomplish our mission. Our mission is about honoring American military aviation. And the Confederate issue was getting kind of confusing and misunderstood. So the membership voted to change the name to Commemorative Air Force. We're still the CAF, and we're still proud of our Confederate Air Force roots. But we changed the name to better communicate our mission. And so we became the CAF.
And then you got settled, and a lot of things just kind of mushroomed around you. You had a lot of support, a lot of members.
Right. Well, we have, you know, the interesting thing is, besides our presence here that most people see, as I mentioned, we have units, and we have a total of over 8,000 members, of which 6,000 of them are colonels, full members. 2,000 within that are life members. And the members are very, very active, because the key to the mission is keeping these airplanes flying. To do that, we have to have pilots, we have to have mechanics, but then again, we have to have photographers and website designers and newsletter editors and fundraisers. So really, there's so much available for people to do within the membership that we have a very active membership in many, many different areas, not just pilots. Pilots are actually our smallest demographic, which might surprise you.
That does surprise me.
A lot of history, people that like history and that feel impassioned to remember what gave us our freedoms in this country.
And most people that are really involved in aviation history are not pilots. They just love the aviation history.
Right. A lot of them are not pilots. You know, many people wanted to be a pilot, or they love airplanes. All you have to do is enjoy watching airplanes to really love aviation.
And you see that at the fly-ins. People from little tiny children to senior citizens like me with their mouth open, just having seen it a lot of times before, but we never get tired of it.
Well, right, and we have our annual event, Air Show, which comes up every October, and that's where the community really gets to gather and see what we do, because we bring our airplanes in from all over the country. And it's hard to imagine this, but Midland, Odessa has the best warbird air show in the world. I've been to air shows all around the country, and nothing compares to the air show that we have right here in our backyard.
And people don't ever get tired of them. But the other thing that surprises me is, how do you get to be colonel? Now, explain that to me.
Well, it's not that difficult. All you do is fill out an application, put your statistics. It's $200 a year to be a member, and that $200 goes towards keeping these airplanes flying. But once you go online to commemorativeairforce.org, we've got a thing that says join now. You can be a colonel.
That's and the reason is everybody's a colonel is because you don't want anybody above or below you.
Right. Everybody's equal, and but we do have standards. You say, well, what does it take to be a colonel? It takes a desire to keep these airplanes flying. It takes a desire to educate other Americans about what these airplanes have done to preserve our freedom. But we have a code of conduct. You have to comport yourself in a manner that we feel that is respectful and right for our organization.
Represents you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. It's not. I mean, you have to pay your money, and you have to participate, or you don't have to participate, but you do have to. You do have to. Put forth the best foot for the organization.
Well, what is when you say we've got a lot of photographers and a lot of mechanics? How long will these planes be flyable?
Well, everyone seems to think that they're going to stop flying, but in reality, we can keep them flying really for years. Many of these airplanes, if a part is going old and being bad, it's replaced. So in many cases, a large percentage of the airplane that you see
Have a brand new motor.
has been, well, yes, many of them have brand new motors and a lot of other structural components that have been replaced. So we go through very, very fastidious checks of everything. We operate per the FARs, which is the FAA rulings on airplanes and pilots. We operate, and we have CAF manuals, so we run it very, very organized. And every unit has its own infrastructure, because I'm the CEO, but there in the 74 units, we have 74 unit leaders and executive officers and operations officers and maintenance officers. Right here in our the Permian Basin, we have both the High Sky Wing, which is in Midland, and the Desert Squadron, which is in Odessa. And each of them have facilities, each of them have airplanes assigned, and each of them have their volunteer leadership structure.
My goodness. So is this essentially all over the United States?
It is. It's in 27 states, including Alaska, of all things. So we have large units, and footprints as large as you see here in several places, in Arizona, in Southern California. But we're all over the country.
And so there's no reason, if you have 5 people that want to set up a unit in a place that's never had one, or in a place that has another one, but
You're right. The minimum is 15 members to start a unit, but you're right. We have a new unit forming right in Dallas, and we already have 2 units in Dallas, but in a suburb of Dallas, in another airport, there's a unit that's starting right now called the Invader Squadron, and they're going to take an A-26 that we have right out here at headquarters now. They're going to take that airplane, and they're going to start to operate and fly it and use it to educate. That is the key core mission of us, to educate Americans.
yeah, and we're going to have a segment about
Sure.
the educational activities, and particularly the outreach to young people, and,
Right.
and making them understand the significance of aviation in our history.
Yeah, and the membership, the good thing is, the membership, you can be as active as you like, or if you're not active and you don't want to go out and work on airplanes or look at airplanes or even be with a group of people, if you just want to support us, you can join and be a member. Receive our monthly magazine, Dispatch. We send out every 2 weeks emails. We have a website. I write a blog every week. So you can stay in contact with our efforts, even from afar. We have people all over the world. We actually have 4 international units. We are in France, in New Zealand, in Switzerland, and in Australia. So we have members all over the world. I have members write me from Germany. It's amazing where people are members. They can be a member from afar.
Oh, how interesting. And how interesting for them to keep in touch with us.
It is. And the internet, of course, makes that so much easier
I
now,
know.
because we can hear instantaneous. I had an email from one of our leaders in France just this morning. So it's amazing how in touch you can be no matter where you are.
That's right. Well, but one of the things that is a little bit confusing to me is you said you own most of the airplanes.
Yes,
There's
ma'am.
very few that you don't own. So what if I had a plane and I wanted to still fly it, but I didn't mind giving it to you, but I still wanted